Recording in progress.
A very good evening to all my dear students. On behalf of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, I welcome each one of you for this wonderful session for first lecture of paper 2, Corporate and Other Laws. And I congratulate all of you for entering into CA Intermediate. It's a wonderful journey, provided you are being regular with your studies. That is the only humble request. Whenever the teacher is teaching you anything, pay full concentration, full focus, and no one can stop you from winning this race of chartered accountancy. All right. Once again, I welcome each one of you. So today we are going to start with the first session, that is chapter number 1, preliminary. So what I have planned is I will be teaching you first certain topics, and as and when you have any queries in between, you can raise your hands. Don't unmute yourself without my permission. All right. And try to ask as much as you want so that all your concepts are clear, but I'll make sure while teaching you only, your concepts will get crystal clear. So let's begin this session for first chapter, a new day, a new start. And as I always start my presentation with a quote that success usually comes to those who have been too busy looking for it. So the day you have decided to do CA, that was your first step towards your CA journey. And now you have to be fully determined. God has been really graceful. You have cleared your foundation and now you have entered the intermediate level. Many a time students tell us, ma'am, it's very tough. How will we do it? How will we manage? So remember the thumb rule, hard work along with being consistent. If you are regularly working hard, you are being regular with your studies, and the spirit of I can do it and I will do it has to be there. Side by side, I will also be checking your queries on the admin portal. And welcome Mr. Satyam, Sadar, Mohammed, Anushka, Mr. Ram. Good evening, all of you children. So we will be handling the queries on both the ways, and all the children over here with me on the Zoom also. I welcome once again all of you. So you have to keep the spirit of I can do it and I will do it. Be determined, and how we have to be determined. There are certain tips for all of you. So number 1, hard work is must. Once you're doing a CA course, so it is there in your blood. You know that thing. Now you have been giving exams. You know how much you have to be consistent with your studies. But very important thing, a study plan. Please children, make sure, my humble request to all of you, whatever I'm going to teach you today, make sure you revise it, since it's an evening lecture. So maybe by next day or late night, whatever we have done today should be revised maximum by tomorrow. It's all a brain game. Law is all about a brain game. The much you'll read, repetitively you're reading, the sections also get memorized. More and more you read it, more and more you revise. So a fixed study plan should be with all of you over there. Make your own study plan. This time I'm going to study accounts. This time I'm going to give time to taxation. And this is my fixed time for studying law. Notes, write and practice. So I will request you that whenever I'm teaching a topic, try to make a separate register for law if possible. Whatever notebook you're having, try to write down. We'll be doing certain practical examples, which I'm just explaining you along with the topic. So try writing it down and try to figure out your notes. The more and more you write in foundation, it was okay if you were not writing and practicing. You were just learning it, it's okay. But you have huge syllabus in CA Intermediate, Corporate and Other Laws. So try making a practice of writing your notes and then learning it from there. For following, you cannot go beyond study material. Study material of Institute's ICAI module is the Bible for all of you. As you have been doing in foundation, as I have been telling in foundation also, in intermediate also, please follow ICAI module. You are not going to leave a single line from ICAI module. And if you're following my presentation along with the module, that's it. That is more than enough. After that, definitely the MTPs, RTPs, it's all about a memory game. So how we judge our memory, whether I have been able to retain the information when I do my mock test papers, when I do my revision test papers. See, Institute has already made so much ready material for all of you to grasp it. So utilize that information and start practicing. So being consistent, again, be regular. Don't do that once I've studied law, ab mujhe samajh aa gaya, ma'am has taught me, I've understood, I don't need to revise it. No, that is the biggest mistake. Do revise it. So when you have revised, that means you're being consistent, you're being regular with your work, the things get feed over. So, Order, Companies Act 2013 welcomes you. So, you all know we have laid down the foundation in CA Foundation. There was a very small conceptual clarity of Companies Act. Now you will be doing at large Companies Act 2013. The first topic, overview preliminary, we'll be discussing about certain rules. So it has Act and Chapter 1, and certain rules also go side by side in the Act. So students, Companies Act 2013 was preceded by Companies Act 1956. Many times, if you will pick up the books, which are the old books, they might be having the Companies Act 1956 reference. So strictly minded that we are going to follow Companies Act 2013. It has replaced the Companies Act 1956. So don't try to refer the old act. You always have to refer the Companies Act 2013, what we call it as the title. So section 1 tells you about the short title, extent, and commencement. So the title, what is the name given to the act? It's Companies Act 2013. It succeeds the Companies Act 1956. And what is a company? I'm sure my students by now know what's a company. So company is an association, which is an artificial person created by the process of law. So company is created by law and it ends also by law. Having a separate legal entity. Remember Salomon versus Salomon and Company Limited, which taught you that company is different. The members who have formed the company, they are different. That is the separate legal entity concept of the company, having a perpetual succession. So can anyone tell me what is the meaning of perpetual succession? You can write down in the chat box. So what do you understand by perpetual succession? Yes, Pranav, all the PPTs will be uploaded and will be given to you all. So perpetual succession means that members may come. Yes, very good. Continuation, nice. So members may come or go, but the company continues to exist. So why it continues to exist? Because company is created by the process of law, and it can also be dissolved with the process of law. And what a separate legal entity tells you, that company can sue and be sued in its own name. Company can hold and sell the property. It has a perpetual succession. So this was just a quick recap of what you have done in your CA Foundation, all those characteristics. Now what you're going to do is you will be starting with section 1. We'll be reading what is Companies Act from the very beginning. So section 1 tells you the title, that is the Companies Act 2013. Extent means applicability to whole. It extends to whole of India. So earlier it was that certain cities were or states were excluded. Now Companies Act 2013 is applicable to whole of India. And when does it commence? It came into force, and from 2013, August 2014, we have been following. Provisions have come up on different dates through notifications. Also, the rules keep coming. As and when any amendment happens, the rules keep getting updated. Now, applicability of Companies Act 2013, the first topic tells you that Companies Act is applicable to the companies incorporated under this act or under any other previous company law. So if any company was formed in 1971, so is Companies Act 2013 applicable to them also? So if a company was formed in 1971, so will the Companies Act 2013 applicable? Law says yes, it is applicable to the companies which were incorporated under the previous act also. To them also now the Companies Act 2013 is applicable. So any new company you're forming or any previous company, all the companies are coming under the shelter of Companies Act 2000. Number 2, it is applicable to insurance companies. So all the insurance companies, how they have to be formed, what the compliance procedure of Companies Act will be shielding them is applicable to all the insurance companies also, to all the banking companies also, and to all the companies engaged in the supply of electricity. Companies Act 2013 is applicable. Now, where does the problem occurs? When it says except where the provisions of the said are inconsistent with the provisions of Insurance Act. Now, let us try to understand point number one, insurance company. So, insurance companies are regulated by Insurance Act. IRD Act will tell how the insurance companies have to function. But Companies Act 2013 is applicable to them because it's a company. So, insurance company, Companies Act is applicable. But it generally comes under the provisions of Insurance Act. They have their own respective act. So law says wherever there is a fight between Companies Act and Insurance Act, say for example, Insurance Act is telling the company to do something, and at the same time, Companies Act telling the insurance company to do something else. If there is a clash, if there is inconsistency, if there is a problem in both the provisions, then what you have to do, then you blindly have to follow your respective act. That is, you will follow your Insurance Act 19. Similarly, for banking companies, any provisions are inconsistent. Companies Act is saying something else. Banking Regulation Act is saying something else. Then you quietly follow your banking regulation. Electricity company, any provisions inconsistent between the Companies Act and Electricity Act, you will follow the Electricity Act for the electricity. But overall, you are having the applicability of Companies Act 2013. Wherever the provisions are inconsistent, they're not matching, then you have to listen to what your respective act is trying to take. And the fourth category is any other company governed by any special acts. So whatever the companies are formed by special acts, they are also governed by the Companies Act 2013. All right. So we'll be trying to cover each and everything from this presentation also. And as and when I feel like, I can take you to the Institute's module also, so that we don't miss out anything from the module as well. Okay, so let me show you so far what we have done from the module as well. All right. So the chapter number 1, we are doing preliminary. Here is your Institute's material. So we have discussed about the short title, extent and commencement. The section 1 came into force on 30th August 2013. And from 1st April 2014, it was enforced. So how many sections we are having? Companies Act is having 470 sections with 7 schedules. And the entire act is divided into 29 chapters. Most of the chapters, few of the chapters you will be covering in CA Inter syllabus, and other chapters you will be covering in CA Final. So 470 sections, but you don't have to do all the sections in intermediate, few of the sections in intermediate, and rest of them you will be carry forwarding it in the CA Final. So extent and application is given over here. Let's do this example number 1 from the study. ABC was incorporated on 1st January 1972. So it was formed under Companies Act 1956. So can we say that Companies Act 2013 is applicable? Yes, any company incorporated in the previous law also, this Act of Companies Act will be applicable on ABC Limited as well. And this is the same in insurance, banking and electricity companies. And any other company governed by the special act, it includes, for example, FCI, Food Corporation of India, National Highway Authority. So all these are also governed by the Companies Act. Any body corporate which central government will specify that now the act will be applicable to them also. So by notification, they can make the act applicable to them as well. So this is your inconsistent provision, which I've just explained you. Wherever the provisions are inconsistent, you will listen to your respective act by which you are regulated. So now welcome to all of the definitions that are given in this chapter. Section 2 exclusively talks about the definition section. Now we are going to learn most of the terminologies that you will be referring to in the Companies Act. So it tells you that all these sections are the internal aids to construction. When you go to the chapter of interpretation of statutes, general clauses, there you will understand what is the meaning of internal aids. As of now, you can, in layman's language, internal aids means internal help given to you so that you can understand the correct meaning of the act. For example, what is the meaning of an expert? Expert I might have a different definition for expert. You might have a different definition. But what is Act defining? So wherever the word expert in Companies Act will be used, you will be using the definition which we are going to do today, given under section 2. What is the meaning of holding? Holding might be something for you, something for me, but holding, control, holding company, subsidiary company, all these are defined in a section 2. For Companies Act, we will be referring to all these terminologies, whatever the particular definition has been given under section 2. And children, the definitions are given under certain sub-clauses. So we are not having section, subsection. So say, for example, it is clause 1, clause 2. As far as possible, you can learn them, but there are few sections which we will be repetitively doing, like associate company, holding subsidiary, government company, small company. बार बार बोलने से section 2, subclause 85, section 2, subclause 68, section 2, subclause 87. When we will give a reference to them, you'll automatically learn. So don't put so much pressure on your mind that I have to learn today itself all the subclauses also. Gradually, you will be able to learn. All right. So that is what is the introduction of this chapter. We can read here also, when a word or phrase is defined having a particular meaning, it is that meaning alone which must be given to it while interpreting a section. So whatever is written over here, like abridged prospectus, so what meaning Act has given you, what is defined under section 2, subclause 1, you have to give the same reference, same meaning has to be, it has to be understood in the same sense what the Act is trying to tell you. So I just clarified, somebody's writing in the chat box, there are clauses or subclauses. So they're not subsections, we are referring to them as clauses. Okay. All right. So let's begin with the first definition, abridged prospectus. Now let me take you in my presentation. So few definitions we're going to do over here, and then we'll jump back to the study as well. So abridged prospectus. Now this is a very new word for you. You're hearing it for the first time. But let me tell you, my dear children, this whole, it's a full-fledged topic which you'll be covering in the chapter of prospectus. So the third chapter, when you do prospectus, then you will be understanding in detail about what is abridged prospectus. But since the first definition is given of this term, so we should read it. It says it is a memorandum containing the silent features of a prospectus as specified by Security and Exchange. So SEBI is going to regulate it, and it is a memorandum, means it's a kind of a document which is providing all the features of a prospectus. So company is going to issue a full-fledged prospectus, but abridged prospectus is a kind of a summary which is giving all the silent features of a prospectus. That's it. As of now, this much information. In detail, when we do chapter of prospectus. Now, what are accounting standards? When I tell you about accounting standards, we feel so proud of our own Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, because central government prescribed these standards as recommended by ICAI itself. So we are also involved in governing as a governing body for accounting standards and auditing standards. But now the consultation and examination recommendation is also taken from the National Financial Reporting Authority. So what is the meaning of accounting standards? See children, there is company A Limited and there is a company B Limited. Both of them are trying to value their inventories. You understand inventories? The stock valuation needs to be done. A Limited is following a different method. B Limited is following a different method. So it becomes very difficult to compare the companies, the kind of valuation they have done. So law feels in order to bring uniformity, it's important that respective companies shall be following certain accounting standards, means certain accounting methods have been given. Like, for example, I'm talking about valuation of inventories. It is given under accounting standard 2. AS2 has to be followed. So A Limited will also follow what is written in AS2 and value the inventories. B Limited will also follow in the same way. And then the comparison of the companies become very convenient for us, because we having the uniformity in following the valuation of certain kind of things. So accounting standards basically tell you what kind of standards of accounting or any addendum there. So any addendum there too means, so whatever accounting standards have to be followed, central government will prescribe, will take the recommendation from ICAI, and also in consultation and after examination of the recommendation given by the NIFARA, we call it. That is NFRA, National Financial Reporting Authority. When we'll be doing further chapters in accounts of company and other chapters, we will be talking at length about NFRA also. Abhi ke liye, this much information is sufficient for what is accounting standard. Alter or alteration. Alteration means any changes that you're making. So what is the meaning of changes? Making any additions, omissions, or substitutions. You're substituting anything means you have altered. You're adding something to the act or you're adding something to the provisions means you're altering. So in the next chapter, when you'll study about the alteration of memorandum, certain changes are happening. So what alteration means? All the additions, omissions, or substitutions, yeah, that you're doing in the respective thing. And what is the meaning of articles? Now, this is the definition that you have to tell me. Let me see in the admin query also how the things are going. Okay, Mr. Sadab is writing, I cleared my foundation in first attempt. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. I'm glad to have you here, child. Charita, Raminivas, Monica, so many students are here as well. Okay. Perpetual succession. Miss Tejasvi is writing, yes, you're right. Company continues to exist. Mr. Amrit, Adishri, good. Correct answer. Ramachandra, good. Aisha, Joya, all of you have given the correct answer for that respective question. That's great. Mr. Satyam Raj, I'm glad to have you over here. Thank you, beta, for the lovely wishes. Mohammed Sakleen, all right. Are all the sections, definitions given under? Yes, Mr. Gerald P. We are doing all the definitions given under section 2. So chapter number 1 is giving you definitions which are given under section 2. Okay, Mr. Dal Singh Patilia, he's asking what is the general meaning of memorandum. So memorandum basically talks about the memorandum of association, which you'll be understanding in the next chapter. But here it is trying to tell you it is a memorandum. A bridge prospectus is a memorandum containing the silent features. Means it is referring to it as a document which is having all the features of a prospectus. So there also we use the particular word, but you will not use the word document. You will use the word memorandum. So like you have memorandum of association for the company, here a bridge prospectus is being referred to as a memorandum, kind of a document which is having a features of a prospectus. Okay. Articles. Yes, I've asked a question. Adishri has answered. Articles means articles of association formed by the company. So excellent. Articles refer to articles of association. You have discussed at length about this in CA Foundation also. So what is the meaning of articles? Means articles of association as originally framed or altered from time to time. Altered means changed, additions, omission. Alteration ka meaning here only we have just done. Additions, omission, substitution. So whatever changes are happening, that is same. It is a document which regulates internal affairs. Very good, Ms. Joa. Joa Praveen. Nice. So articles of association, articles means the same. As originally framed and altered means the way they have been altered from time to time. Now comes your favorite definition, associate company. Section 2, subclause 6 defines your associate company. So now all the eyes and ears here, listen very carefully. Somebody is still writing in the chat box. Let me see. Yes, articles you have written correct. Altered from time to time. Regulations. Good, good. Niketana, Athira, Anushka, all of you have given correct. Praveen, you is asking how to prepare notes for law, any guidance. So in between, we'll be talking about these kind of things. As of now, just listen what I'm teaching you and keep writing down whatever you understand. Okay? The rule books. Okay, fine. Yes, Mr. Sanjay Vedya, the lecture will be in English only. If you don't understand anything, respectively, you can ask me where you have not understood. Okay? Yes, Divya, we'll be covering all the definitions, so don't worry about that. Okay, now let's move ahead. Associate company means in relation to another company, a company which has a significant influence. But please listen very carefully. It's a very, very important topic and examiner's favorite. They try to give questions from this topic many a times. So number one thing you have to make sure is when one company is having a significant influence on another company. So when do I become an associate company? When I'm having a significant influence, not me, a company is having. Please understand, in relation to another company means a company. If an individual is having influence on another company, no associate company. Company hona zaruri. So company is having a significant influence on another company. Number two, it is not a subsidiary company. So subsidiary company will be understanding you. Otherwise, I know you know a hint of subsidiary company. Holding and subsidiary relationship, where 50%, more than 50% of the share capital is being held by a particular company. But we will discuss it in detail, not like this. As of now, associate company is company which is having a significant influence on another company. It is not a subsidiary company. And number three, it also includes joint venture. So if two companies are having a joint venture, they are having a joint arrangement controlling the net assets. For example, A Limited and B Limited are together controlling C Limited, having the equal or joint arrangement on the net assets of the particular company, then they are having a joint venture. So when you're having a joint venture, you automatically become an associate. And if you're having a significant influence, what is the meaning of significant influence? Such beautifully law has been written. It will not leave you over there only, that significant influence. It is giving you the definitions of each and every. So what is the definition of significant influence? It means controlling at least 20% of the total voting power. Or, now here the word or is written. Be very careful where the word or is written and where the word and is written. Let me tell you once in Hindi, or means ya. Ye ya fir ye, or. Choice it. And means both, compulsory, mandatory. So you have to be very clear where the word or is written, where the word and is written. So in associate company, the word or is written. That means significant influence means I am trying to control 20% of the voting power of another company. Then we both become associate company. Or I am participating in the business decisions of the company, then also we become the associate company. So let me give you an example. There is a company A Limited, which is controlling 23% of total voting power of B Limited. So will they become associate company? Yes or no? Will they become associate company if A Limited is controlling 23% of the total voting power of? Very good. All of you have given the answer correct. Yes, ma'am, they become associate company. I'll not be taking your names because then it will take me too long in taking all of your names. Okay? Vidyashri, thank you so much. I'm glad you have cleared in first attempt and you're here. Good. Associate company is controlling more than 20%, then yes, you become the associate company. Now, another question. So questions will keep coming. Listen. A Limited is participating in business decisions and holding 19% of total voting power. Now do they become associate company? Yes. No. Afsal is saying no. Why no? Somebody else also said no. Neha is saying no. Why no? So if you are participating in business decisions, you're controlling most of their business decisions, that is entirely is in your hand, then also you become associate company. So you have to read law very carefully. So where you are giving, it's more than 20% of the shareholding, then also you become associate company, or you are participating in the management and business decisions of another company, then also you become an associate company. What is the meaning of joint venture? When you're having any arrangement where the parties are having joint control to the net assets of the arrangement, then you are meaning a joint venture. Then those companies are anyways an associate company. Now, what is the important line over here? Law says it has been clarified that where the shares are being held in the fiduciary capacity. What is the meaning of fiduciary capacity? It says anyone who is legally and ethically holding as a trust with one or more parties, persons or group of persons, so he is prudently taking care of your money or other assets, then he shall not be counted for determining the relationship of associate company. Now, anybody who is holding in another company any shares as a fiduciary capacity. Fiduciary capacity means where you're holding as a relationship of, as a trustee and beneficiary kind of relationship. So if you're just holding the shares as a trust, on the basis of a trust, you're taking care of someone's money and assets, then you will not be counted in that associate company's relationship. Now, say for example, you have certain gold lying in your house and you're traveling somewhere and you have given your gold to your friend to take care of it. So when your friend is taking care of your gold, she will not become the owner of that gold. She is just taking care of it. So on the basis of trust, you have formed this kind of relationship. So such a relationship is somebody is holding your shares in a company on the basis of such trust. That is known as fiduciary. So let me give you another example over here. So ABC is holding 40% of the shares. If I'm holding 40% of the shares in another company, then do I become an associate company with another? Yes or no? Definitely I become, because it's more than 20%. If I'm holding 18% shares in another company in my own name, 12% shares I'm holding in a fiduciary capacity, then do I become the associate company or not? Listen carefully. A is holding 18% of the shares in its own name in another company and 12% as a trustee for another shareholder. Then do we become associate company? Yes or no? All those who have given no is the correct answer. Perfectly correct, because ma'am, this 12% will not be counted because anything held in the fiduciary capacity will not be considered. So we are just counting 18%. It is less than 20%. At least 20% of the total voting power has to be held. Then only you become the associate company. So absolutely correct answer given by all of you. Good. So let's discuss a problem over here. ABC Limited has allotted equity shares with voting rights to XYZ Limited for 15 crores and convertible preference shares worth 10 crores during the financial year 22-23. And the total share capital of the company is 100 crores. So how much share capital is given? 100 crores. Equity shares with voting rights. So remember the word, 20% of the total voting power, and convertible preference shares is 10 crores. Do they become associate company? Yes or no? I will tell you how you have to write the answer in the exam. But first, just apply your brains and tell me what is the correct answer. Think carefully and then answer. Avinash is saying holding and subsidiary will exist. Even in 40% it will not exist, beta. You are wrong. I will teach you why you are wrong when I tell you about the topic of subsidiary company. Mr. Vaibhav Jain, these kind of queries we'll be taking at the end, how to make notes, how to prepare for the exams. Abhi ke liye concentrate what ma'am is teaching, understand that, okay? So let me see in the chat box. It is an associate. No, it is not an associate. 20% is there. Only 15% is somebody saying something. Somebody say all confused. No, yes, no, yes. So all those saying no because of 15% somehow are correct. Very good. Preference shares without voting rights will not be considered. Excellent. Excellent, Pranav. Voting power. No, no, no. So no is the correct answer as of now. So let me show you how you have to write your answer in the exam. It has also written, also define an associate company. Even child, if this line would have not been written in the question, still, if any case study based question, always start writing with the provision. So how you, now you, those who keep asking how to write an answer, side by side only, I'm going to cover the questions so that you understand the concept and we are doing examination questions. So first you'll write the provision. First try to connect, like now we have just done the question straightforward. After you have done the entire syllabus, you'll have to read the question twice and you will have to apply your brain that this relates to what topic. So that is known as provision. So this is the provision. That means topic is talking about the associate company. So first you'll give the definition. As it is definition over here from section 2, subclause 6, we have written over here that it is a company in which another company is having a significant influence. It's not a subsidiary company. That's why I made you mark down in 3 points, because this is important. You have to learn it to write it in the definition that it is not a subsidiary. Because 50% shareholding more than that, then we go into subsidiary. Here it is 20% of the shareholding we are talking. Till 49% also it's an associate company. Okay? And includes a joint. What is significant influence? What is joint? Definition complete. Facts of the case, a brief summary from what is given in the question. Now, since XYZ is holding only 15%, so 15 crores equity shares, just to confuse you, they have given convertible preference shares, and I underlined it so that you understand where you have to pay attention. So 15%, because equity shares are having voting rights, so only 15% significant influence, it is less than 20%, therefore they are not associate company. But there is an important instruction and note for all of you. If anyone wants to write such kind of note and assumption, then that is also correct in the exam, but then you have to give this assumption. If you have assumed that the convertible preference shares are also having voting rights, because it's 20% of total voting power. So equity shares have voting rights, we know that. But if we say preference shares are also having voting rights, then XYZ is holding 25%, because 15 equity and 10 they have given for preference, so 25. Then they will be having a significant control. Therefore, they will become an associate company of ABC Limited. Everyone is clear on this? Divya, why are you asking difference between associate and subsidiary? I told you, I have not taught you subsidiary company as of now. So pay attention on what we are doing. We are doing associate company. Okay? Taruna, at least 20%. So 20% and more has to be considered. Very good, Divya, Brijesh, because they are not having voting rights. That's why you're not considered. That's absolutely correct. And if you are considering, very good, Skathal, Bala Murugan, Jaya Kumar. Correct answers, very nice answers. Okay. So if you're considering that they're having voting rights, then definitely they will be considered as an associate company. Now, another question for all of you. Again, ABC has been allotted shares with voting rights to XYZ, 15 crores. And now we are having non-convertible debentures. Children, pay attention. Now we are having non-convertible debentures. After that, the paid-up capital is 100 crores and non-convertible debenture stands at 120 crores. Define the meaning of associate company. That you all have understood. We have done it twice, so we will not be discussing the meaning. You all know. But you have to comment and tell me now, XYZ and ABC, do they become associate company? Yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am? What do you think? Now, do they become associate company? 15 crores equity shares with voting rights and 40 crores they are holding in the non-convertible debentures. Intelligent students I have in my class, huh? Even if I try to confuse them, they're not going to get confused. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. So many answers of no. Let me check on the admin portal also. What answers they are giving? Very good, very good, very good. So no is the correct answer. Wonderful students, because I remember that you have done similar kind of questions from your RTPs, MTPs for foundation as well. So here, holding and allotment of non-convertible debentures has no relevance for ascertaining significant influence. Only 2 students I could read have written yes. I know that you have considered debentures. Please make sure debentures, no role of relevance of debentures while counting the significant influence. So here also you're just having 15 crore equity shares with voting rights you're considering. You're not meeting the requirement of 20%. Therefore, the requirements are not complied. Hence, they will not be considered as associate companies. And make sure you write in the exam like this, children. Write properly the provision, explain them the provision like this. Write the facts of the case. In the given case, this is given. And then leave a line, write conclusion beautifully. Clearly, everything should be written and nice handwriting. Handwriting cannot be made beautiful just in a day, but try to write neat at least. Okay, it should be visible, clear. Hanji. Very good, very good then. Maina, Pavan, very nice. All of you are correct. Okay, so let's move further to the definitions, and after a while we'll be going to the study material also. So again, auditing standards. So here I've underlined the lines for you. Same things as we have studied in the accounting standards definition. Accounting standards, central government will prescribe a recommendation taken from our very own Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. After the examining the recommendations from NFRA, then they will make the standards final. So accounting standards is for the valuation of the accounting treatment that has to be taken care in the financial statements. Auditing standards are telling you how the audit needs to be done, how the auditing policies and other things shall be made. So again, auditing standards are also defined under Section 2 of the Companies Act. Until the auditing standards are notified, any standards on the practicing has to be specified by the ICAI. So whatever ICAI has specified till that date, it shall deem to be the respective auditing standards. All right, simple, clear definition. Now, children, if you've seen the study material, there is written authorized share capital. So I thought since we are doing authorized share capital, why not try to cover all the types of capitals which are given at different places? So they will be giving authorized capital. After a while, when you, it's given in the, sorted very beautifully. So it's given in the ABCD whole categorized in the nice way. So at the end, somewhere you'll be seeing at end when you go nominal capital, issued capital is given. At the end, subscribed capital is defined. So let's cover these, all the particular 5 types of capital in one slide. So classification of capital tells you number 1 category is nominal and authorized share capital. What is the nominal and authorized capital? It is the maximum capital which the company is thinking to raise. It's the maximum limit which is given in the memorandum of association that this is the amount maximum capital that company wants to raise from the public. And what is the issued and subscribed capital? These are the capital which they have actually issued to the public and how much have been subscribed by the public. So we'll understand with the help of example. So say for example, 10 crore is the authorized capital of my company. I've decided to raise 10 crore rupees from the public. And actually I issued 5 crore. It's very difficult instantly to raise 10 crore. So I have given a fixed limit. Authorized is the maximum limit which the company can raise. And now I have, in the first issue, I have issued 5 crore of the capital and that got subscribed also. So 5 crore capital I want to raise and it got subscribed 5 crore capital. So it is at the rate of rupees 10 per share. So let's make it 10 crore shares. 5 crore shares got subscribed, issued and 5 crore subscribed at the rate of rupees 10. So it's now 50 crore, which is my subscribed capital. Okay. Now when I called up, do you get the entire money at the one called up? So called up capital is how much actually has been called up, how much applications have been received, and whatever money has not been called up will be refunded down. So let's say from, for example, from the 5 crores, out of 5 crores, 50 crores subscribed capital, we have just called up 3 crores. 3 crore shares at the rate of rupees 10. So 30 crore is my called up capital that I have invited for the called up. Now, after paying the calls in arrears, whatever is my final paid up capital, say for example, there are certain shareholders who have just paid rupees 8 per share. So let's take the same example. Let's say entire 3 crore rupees 8 per share were paid. 3 8s are 24. So 24 is my actual paid up capital. So this will be considered for the final decision making in my balance sheet. The paid up capital is the final called up capital after reducing all the calls in arrears. So all these definitions you have done crystal clearly in your CA foundation also, but since it has been given all the definitions, so it's very important that you should know it. Authorized capital is the maximum capital that the company wants to raise. Issued is how much I've issued to the public, how much public have subscribed for. Then the called up capital, say for example, I've just called up 3 crore. So 30 crore is my called up capital and they have paid only rupees 8 per share. So 24 crore is my paid up capital. Whenever you want to take any decision of investment in a company, what capital do we check? Tell me. If you want to make investment in Reliance Industries, will you check their authorized share capital, their issued share capital, or the paid up share capital? Which capital needs to be seen? It's always the paid up capital. Very good, very good. All of you are correct. Bhavya, Satish, Divya, Ramya, Amrit, Nitish, correct, correct, correct. Venkatesh, Pallavi, good. So paid up capital is the capital which needs to be seen for making any kind of investment decisions in a company. Now let's move to another definition. So A's definition is completed. Now we're starting with the category of B. So B begins with body corporate. I know there are certain other things given in study also. Books of papers, board. We will go and read from there as well. Body corporate. What is the meaning of body corporate or corporation? So body corporate includes a company. First of all, body corporate means any company. So whatever company we are studying about is company incorporated India is a body corp. So it also includes company incorporated outside India. So company incorporated outside India basically is talking about your foreign company. So any company which is made outside India is also part of your body corporate. The word where body corporate is being used, it includes any company formed in India. वो तो है ही है because body corporate means a company. And also includes company incorporated outside India means where I'm using the word body corporate, it will include foreign companies. But it specifically says that it does not include cooperative societies. So cooperative societies are not part of body corporate. So if I'm saying body corporate, it means includes foreign company, but it will not include cooperative societies. Any other body corporate which the central government may specify. If central government says anything else also, any other societies or any other things which are not to be included, they will also not be. Whatever the central government will specify. Something which is not being a company as defined, which the central government has specified. So as of now, there is no particular specification, but central government has the power to specify by notification. Then that respective company will also be excluded from the definition of body. So what do I have to simply remember? Body corporate means a company, including a company incorporated outside India, that is a foreign company, but it does not include a cooperative society or any other body corporate which central government will specify by notice. So when central government says where, that will also be excluded. So LLP is a body corporate, is it? Yes, it is also body corporate, incorporated inside India or outside India, even as a incorporated outside India is also a body corporate. But partnership is not a body corporate. Okay, just to elaborate and explain you, basically company means a body corporate. It is simply trying to include the foreign company also in the definition. So that's why the word body corporate is used, means a company incorporated outside India will also be a part of body corporate. All right, clear? Okay. So this definition is also important because many a time they will be using the word. Vanitha wants to know the difference between LLP and partnership. Why do you want to know this difference? When we do the chapter LLP, there you can ask this difference. As of now, stay in Companies Act. Company, and yes, Vishnu Vardhan, that's correct. Yes, Vaishnavi, definitely all the companies are considered as body corporate. Even the company which is incorporated outside India, that is also called body. Now, books of accounts and other definitions. Let me just quickly flip through the pages of the study material as well, because I don't want to leave a single page from study books. So, Brecht prospectus is done. Accounting standards is done. Again, little bit elaborative definition of section 133 they have given. So, it basically tells you the same thing that central government will prescribe the standards. But when we go to the further sections, 133, there you will read in detail, in depth about this. As of now, the definition that we have discussed is sufficient. Articles, again, the same definition has been given. Associate company, this is important. Fiduciary capacity, we have already discussed. We have done questions also. Auditing standards also say. So you can see authorized and nominal is the maximum capital by memorandum. What is the meaning of board of directors or board? So it is the collective name given to all the directors of the company. So all the directors of the company are collectively known as board of directors. Simple. What is the meaning of books and papers? So books and papers, or you use the word book or paper, it means all the books of accounts. So this my CS students know very well. You know? We have been studying in accounts also. Books means books of accounts, deeds, vouchers, writings, documents, minutes, registers, made on paper or in electronic form. So anything which is in the electronic form also, that is also included in the definition of books and papers. So all the books of accounts, deeds, documents, whatever documents you're making, whatever deeds you're making, vouchers, writings, registers, minutes, All these, either on the paper or electronic form, they are included in the definition of book and paper. So elaborative term is books of accounts. Deeds, you understand, all the legal deeds. Vouchers, you understand, for the accounting entries, the vouchers that you're making. All the writings, write-ups, documents, minutes. Minutes hota hai where you have a meeting and then you make the minutes. It's the summary of the meeting. Again, huge thing when you go further in the chapters, you will discuss about the meetings. Then you will understand about the minutes also. Registers maintained, whatever registers you have maintained, all these are part of books and papers under the companies. So the elaborative thing is books of accounts. So let's understand what is books of accounts. Subclause 13 tells you books of accounts include all the records having the money received and expended by the company and matters to which receipts and expenditures. So basically your whatever you have received, whatever you have expended. Income received and expenditure done. Whatever you're showing in your P&L account, books of accounts, all the sum of money received and expenditure done. All the sales and purchases of goods and services, whatever sales and purchases, you have made the sales, you have done the purchases, all it's shown in the, all the records are part of the books of accounts. All the assets and liabilities of the company. So your balance sheet part is also there. So everything that you're showing in the trading account, everything that you're showing in the profit and loss account, money received, money expenditure done, balance sheet, assets and liabilities of the company are all records maintained in the books of accounts. And another new item is item of cost as may be given under section 148 in case the company belongs to any class of companies specified under this respective section. So 148 typically talks about, see here now, let me tell you one thing, where references are given. So it is written point number 2. So you simply have to go and read what reference has been given in the study over here. Section 148 says it authorizes central government to specify audit of items of cost in respect of certain companies. So when we go to section 148, we will learn about this particular section also in detail. As of now, simply remember that all these items, so see, their books of accounts is divided in two cases. Number one, all the companies have to take care of receipt and expenditure, sales and purchases, assets and liabilities. But for the companies given under section 148, who will tell 148? Central government will tell that certain audit is required for the cost of certain companies. So specific audit of items is required. So the companies which are having cost audit, you can simply remember for the companies having the cost audit, their items of the cost under section 148 will also be included along with these three things. So where cost audit section 148 is required, cost of audit of certain items, there you are including all these things. 1, 2, 3 means receipt and expenditure, sale and purchase, asset and liabilities. For respective companies under section 148, items of cost will also be included. Simple. Other companies, just three things: receipt and expenditure, sales and purchases, asset and liabilities. For companies given under section 148, you are including one more thing, that is items of cost. What is this? This is given by law. Section 148 tells you central government will specify certain companies where the specific audit of the items of cost is required. So their books of accounts will also include that particular item. All right, is that clear? Okay. Branch office. Branch office means any establishment as described by the company. So branch office, you're having any office. I'm having a head office and I'm having a branch office in another place. That is my any other establishment that I'm having. Called up capital, you have just done part of capital only, which has been called for payment. What is the meaning of the word charge? So we'll be understanding the meaning of charge over here. But again, chapter 6 exclusively talks about registration of charges. There we will talk in detail about what is the charge, how it is created. As of now, charge basically is talking as a security. It means an interest or lien created on the property or assets of the company or any undertakings or both as a security, and also includes the mortgage. What is the meaning of mortgage? So if I'm taking loan from the bank and I have given my house as a security, so I've mortgaged my house in order to take loan from the bank. So that is known as mortgage. Okay. So charge also includes your mortgage. So charge means any interest or lien. Lien means any charge that you're creating on the property. So that is my property, but I have given it as a security to bank. Then this means a charge has been created on my property or asset. Similarly, if company has given its assets as a security to bank for taking loan, So that means a charge has been created on its property and assets. Okay, Yashaswini is asking, do we have to write each and everything in the paper, or you can write it in your own language, child, but the meaning should be absolutely correct. So since we are doing law, so law, legal language is must. You cannot avoid the legal language, but try to learn as far as possible, but don't write anything which is incorrect. It should have the same meaning in the same sense that is written over here. Good, Ritu. I'm glad you're understanding. Chartered accountant. Now, you, my future chartered accountants, definition for you has also been given in the Companies Act. It says means a CA who is defined under Section 2 of Chartered Accountants Act, who holds a valid certificate of practice given under Section 6, subsection 1 of that. So chartered accountants are also defined under the Chartered Accountants Act. Section is not compulsory, child, love Arya. It's not compulsory to write certain sections, but certain sections where I'm doing holding company, where I'm doing subsidiary, where I'm doing associate company, I would request all of you to learn those respective sections. But for like chartered accountant, CEO, CFO, there you can read the sections. But certain sections which we will be doing repetitively, you'll automatically will learn them. Okay. Who is a CEO? CEO is an officer of the company who has been given such designation. And who is a CFO? Chief Executive Officer is known as CEO. Chief Financial Officer is known as CFO. So in the next lecture, when I will talking about the key managerial person, KMP, I will be taking in the next class. So there I will talk about CEO and CFO in detail. I will tell you who are these people and what is their key managerial person, means their key roles that they're having in the company. CEO and CFO are also dealing with the definition and appointment of KMP. KMP means key managerial person. Company means a company incorporated under this act or under any other previous. So Reliance Industries were incorporated in 1973. Prithi Kumari, there is no important section and there is no unimportant section. We should try to learn as much sections as possible, but never write any wrong section in your exam. Better you don't write if you don't remember. As per the provisions of Companies Act, you can write if you don't remember, but never write a wrong section. But definitely, if you remember a section and you write the section, it gives a little good impression. Athira, they can ask definition as such also. You can get a definition, for example, define body corporate under Companies Act, or it can be a case study based like we just did in the associate companies exam. Okay, so anything can come. Reliance Industries is incorporated in 1973, Tata Steel in 1907, Infosys in 1980. So these were incorporated under Companies Act 1956. Now I want to ask you, will they be treated as the same definition as given company under this act? Definitely yes, they will also be treated as companies under Companies Act 2013. Very good, good, good. Now, company limited by guarantee and company limited by shares. Again, portion of it you have covered in CA Foundation also. So let's quickly go through what is company limited by guarantee. Company limited by guarantee means the company where the liability of the members has been fixed by the memorandum that they will contribute only this much respective amount towards the assets of the company. And when does this liability will arise? At the time of funding. So let me make it in brief points for all of you so that it becomes easy for you to learn. So number one, company limited by guarantee means a company, number one, having the liability of its members. So their liability is limited. Number two, it is limited. The amount is mentioned in the memorandum. Number three, such amount that they have agreed to contribute. And number four, they will be paying this amount at the time of winding up of the company. So there is a company ABC, which is a company limited by guarantee, ABC Limited. So A says, I am going to pay rupees 10,000 when the company goes into liquidation. B says, I am going to pay 2,000. C says, I will not pay more than 5,000. So C says, I have guaranteed the amount of 5,000. Now, say, for example, the company went into liquidation and the liabilities of the company are 20,000. Now, here A, B, and C will only be liable for 10,000, 2,000, and 5,000. Rest 3,000 company will borrow on itself. but it is a company limited by guarantee. They cannot be called to pay more than the amount that they have agreed to contribute towards the assets of the company. So A will pay this much, B will pay 2,000, C will pay 5,000. And only their liability will arise at the time of winding up of the company, means when the company is coming to an end. They will not be invited any time during the continuation of the company to pay for. What is the meaning of company limited by shares? Again, number one, we are defining their liability. Liability of the members is number one. Number two, defined in the memorandum. To the amount. Number three, unpaid on the shares held by them. So if there is a shareholder, Mr. A, who has taken 10 shares in the company at the rate of rupees 10 each. So his liability is 100 rupees. So if Mr. A has already paid rupees 8, that means he has paid up rupees 80 in the company. Then what will be his liability? His liability is 10 shares, amount unpaid on the shares. How much is the amount unpaid on the shares? At the rate of rupees 2. So his liability will only be 20 rupees. So if 10 shares at the rate of rupees 10 each, if he has paid rupees 8 per share, that means 80 he has already paid. Now he can be called any time during the continuation of the company. So fourth point over here is he can be invited at any time during the continuation of the company to pay for the liability which is unpaid on the shares, that is rupees 20. Yes, Anushka Raj, company limited by guarantee only at the winding up, and company limited by shares can be asked during the lifetime of the business. Very. And 20 is the correct answer, Lavaria. Very nice. All right. So company limited by shares and guarantee is also clear over here. A shareholder who has paid 75 on a share of a face value of 100 can only be called to pay the balance of rupees 25. Is it correct? Definitely correct. So only the balance amount can be called to pay. Contributory means a person who is contributing towards the assets of the company. Okay. Yes, Shanti, your messages are coming. If you have any doubt, you can ask. Ayesha is asking Leon. So Leon was beta when we told you about a chart. So Leon is a kind of that means I'm giving it to you as a security. You cannot be the owner of the thing when a charge has been created. Okay. So you simply have to remember the charge as a security, something which has been given, which will be repaid to you once, for example, if I've given my house security, like I was telling you about the mortgage. So when I repay the loan, my house will get free from that mortgage. So now my bank will give my title deeds and all the documents back. So he's only exercising a lien, means a charge. He's only holding the thing till the time has not been repaid. Okay. Contributory means a person who is liable to contribute towards the assets of the company at the time of winding. So if you're paying contributory means in case of company limited by guarantee, we just said that you're contributing towards the asset at the time of winding up. So that person is known as somebody who's contributing in the time of winding up is known as contributor. It is clarified that the person holding fully paid up shares shall be considered as a contributor. So fully paid up shares will always be considered as a contributory, somebody who has contributed towards the assets of the company. Now let's begin with the terminology of control. And I want to do one small topic and then I'll take a small break. Books of accounts we've already done. Charge, CA, company, all these points have been taken care of. Control. Now control means the right to appoint majority of directors. Now what is the meaning of control? Controlling someone. We are trying to understand the meaning of control. A father is trying to control his son. He can control, but what is Companies Act trying to tell you? How Companies Act is going to define the control, that is what we're going to read. Control means to appointing majority of directors. So if I am appointing, if you have 10 directors, majority means more than half. So if 6 directors I am appointing, so that means I'm controlling your company. Or I'm controlling the management or policy decisions exercised by a person or persons acting individually or in concert directly or indirectly by virtue of their shareholding or management rights, that is known as control, or by shareholders' agreements. So if I'm trying to control your directors, I'm controlling your management of the company, I'm controlling the policy decisions, I have the right. Control means the power, the right to appoint the directors, or to control the management of the company or their policy decisions. Then it means I'm exercising your control on the company. And it is an exclusive definition relevant for understanding subsidiary and holding companies. So from here, we will move to what is holding and what is subsidiary company. करेंगे हम definition wise, but as and when the word control has come, now we can cover up the topic of holding and subsidiary. So what is the meaning of holding and subsidiary company? Where you are controlling the composition of board of directors. BOD is standing for board of directors. Or you are having more than half of the total voting power of another company. Here, the company is said to be your subsidiary. Let me show you the exact definition that is given over here in the study material. Holding company. So first it will tell you about the holding company, but the detailed definition is given in the subsidiary company. So it says holding company means a company, one or more companies, a company of which companies are subsidiary companies. Very simple definition. It says holding company is a company which is having subsidiary companies. Relation to one. So other companies means a company of which companies are. So I am holding company, I have subsidiary companies. So he's not defining, he's just telling you subsidiary company. Please refer to the definition of section 2 subclause 46. So section 2 subclause 46 is simply defining in a line what is holding company. But the detailed definition, it says it's a company which is having subsidiary companies. So definition of subsidiary company is given under section 2 subclause 87. Section 2 clause 87, not subclause, clause 87 tells you what is a subsidiary company. So we're going to do in detail about the subsidiary company. Let us quickly go to section 2 clause 87, where we're going to read line to line about the subsidiary company. It's important that you should see the study also so that you become familiar with it. You should know where it is written. So this subscribe capital we have already done, children. So example 12 is your homework. Just go through this example in your study material. We have just discussed in the class when we were doing types of capital. So here comes a subsidiary company. In relation to any other company means a company in which the holding company, full concentration and attention I want here. A company which is controlling the composition of the board of directors, or it is controlling more than one half of the total voting power, either on its own or together with one or more of its subsidiaries. So A Limited is directly holding more than total voting power in B Limited. A and B are holding in subsidiary. Or A Limited is holding along with its subsidiaries. A is holding 20% and its subsidiary is holding 30%. Another subsidiary is holding. So along with my subsidiary, if I'm holding more than 50% of the total voting power, then also B Limited will become my subsidiary company. Now here the word or has been used. Either I'm controlling the composition of the board of directors. What is the meaning of composition of board of directors? Means where I am trying to, composition of board of directors means if one company is appointing and removing all or majority of the directors of an. So if A Limited is deciding, say for example, there are 10 directors. So 6 directors, A is deciding how to appoint these 6 directors, how to remove these 6 to 7 directors. Then that means A Limited is controlling the composition of board of directors. So composition of board of directors control karna means if you are taking the decision regarding the appointment and removal of all or majority of the directors of another. The word company includes body corporate. What does it mean, children? It says company includes body corporate. That means a company incorporated outside India is also understood under the holding and subsidiary company. So the word company means a company incorporated outside India is having a subsidiary, then also holding subsidiary relationship can exist, because we just did the definition of body corporate. It's nothing. It's just simply telling you that any foreign company is also part of body corporate. So here the word body corporate has been used. Each and every line you have to read, and it should be crystal clear in your mind. Everything is important. Don't ask me what is important, what is unimportant. Everything which is written in the study material is the Bible for you. You have to read it. You cannot leave it. Okay? But I'm here to make the things simplify for you so that you are able to learn it in an easy way. So don't worry at all. So company includes body corporate. Body corporate means company incorporated outside India. So that company is also included in the definition of holding and subsidiary. This much. And here a company shall deem to be a subsidiary in either of the case, even if it is controlling the composition of board of directors or it is controlling the total voting powers, half of the total voting power. In either of the case, it will become a subsidiary. Such class or classes of holding company as may be prescribed shall not have layers of subsidiary beyond such numbers. So as of now, it says the limit has been prescribed, so that it cannot have more than 2 layers of subsidiaries. So that is the latest limit that has been given. So you cannot have more than 2 layers of subsidiaries. So if you are having a layer, means holding company having its subsidiary or subsidiaries. And the same notification as we did in associate company, 27 December 2013 notification, it says that the ministry has again clarified, if you are holding any shares in the fiduciary capacity, that shall not be counted while counting the relationship of holding and subsidiary. So here comes a question in front of the screen for all of you. A Limited is holding 40% in its own name, total voting power of B Limited, and 20% in fiduciary capacity. Is B Limited subsidiary of A Limited? Yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am? And why, ma'am? If I'm holding 40% shares in B Limited and 20%, so total 60% I'm holding, children. All my children are very intelligent. They know why ma'am has asked this question. 20% will not be counted because anything held in a fiduciary capacity will not be considered. So 40% I'm holding. So I'm not. So at least more than 50% of the shareholding has to be there in order to be calling it a holding subsidiary relationship. So 40% will not be considered as holding and subsidiary. But can I call A and B Limited associate company? Can I call them associate company? Definitely yes, because having more than 20%, they will be associate company, but definitely not holding a subsidiary because fiduciary capacity is not counted. Very good. And so many children giving wonderful answers make me feel proud. That means you are being attentive and you're understanding and you are responding also. So that's wonderful. Mr. Rajesh Sharma, you can send me your queries on the admin portal from where you have written this message. Aisha, correct. Muhammad Dirifan, correct. Good, good, good. All those who have given the answers here also on the portal, all of you are also correct. And the chat box also, all the answers were correct. Yes, Rohit, we will be covering that layers wala thing also. Just slowly we will go step by step. Now you have understood holding and subsidiary. Another example in front of you. A Limited is having 12 directors and B Limited appoints and removes 7 directors. Are they having holding and subsidiary relationship? A Limited is having 12 directors and B Limited is responsible for controlling the composition of board of directors. It is appointing and removing the 7 directors. Decision making is in the hand of B Limited. So who is holding, who is subsidiary? Tell me that also. Who is holding, who is subsidiary? B is holding and A Limited is subsidiary. Very good. Wonderful answer given. Wonderful. Okay. So now one more thing I want to tell you. If A Limited is having, say, 1,000 shares and B Limited is holding is 50%, more than 50% of the shareholding. So more than 500 shares should be held by B Limited, then only it will become holding. So even if I'm holding 501 shares, I become the holding company. Please write it down. You keep asking me now, ma'am, what we have to write it down? This is very important information because in the exam, he will be giving you big figures. A is holding 2,60,500 shares in B Limited and they are having capital of 4,65,000. So mathematical calculations have to be done. So simply this figure you have to remember. If there are 1,000 shares and B is holding 50%, B Limited is holding 50% means 500 shares should have been holding. Then only they become 50. Then only they become holding subsidiary. So now that means 501 shares if they are held by B Limited, then A and B will become holding and subsidiary. Because many a times you get confused. You say, ma'am, 510 shares have to be held. है ना वो लगता है ऐसे percentage में more than 50% means 51 shares. No, it's not 51. It's fine. So if I'm having 100 shares. So if I'm saying 100 shares, then how many shares should have been held? Then 51 shares. If I'm having 2,000 shares, then 1,000 shares. Is that clear? More than 50% of the shares if I'm holding, then I become the holding and subsidiary. Not 51, it should be 50.5. It should be 50.5 if I'm having it, but then in the percentage, if you have to take it, then you have to take it overall. So more than 50% of the shareholding, if you're having, then you will be considered as holding and subsidiary. More than Pavan, it has to be there more than 50%, not 50%. No, it has to be seen incompletely. Let me show you where it is written. So it says if you're controlling, so it says more than 1/2 of the total power. So more than 50%. So above 50% it has to be there. You cannot say 50.5, half a share you will not be holding. You will be holding full only. Yeah? So more than 50% is 51%. So 50% means if you have to calculate 1,000 shares, so 501 shares if you're holding of another company, it will be the more than 50%. Dilip, I hope you also understood. So more than 50% of the shares. So you have to calculate this in the exam when the questions will be coming. I will be showing you certain questions. And then we'll take the break. Let me do one question with you and then only we'll take. So here it is a clarification that I want to share with you. Company includes any body corporate also. Layer in relation to holding company means it's subsidiary or subsidiaries, but you cannot have more than 2 layers of subsidiaries. And certain companies which have been incorporated outside India. Now it says companies incorporated outside India with layers of subsidiary, then they have to follow their own country laws. So if a company is incorporated in Singapore, can they have more subsidiaries, layers of subsidiaries? They have to follow the laws of their country. Their Singapore law will be telling. Companies formed in Italy, Italy law will tell you whether you can have a subsidiary layers more than 2. And those specified companies to which this 2-layer provision is not applicable, so it says no company other than the specified company. So what are the specified companies? Banking company, non-banking finance company, insurance company, and government company. In companies you can leave. Other than these companies, you cannot have more than 2 layers of subsidiaries. So number one point you have to remember over here is, one, so you have done the definition, holding and subsidiary. What are the points over there? Controlling more than 50% of the total voting power, more than 50%, not 50%, more than 50% of the total voting power, or you're controlling the board of directors, means appointing and removing the majority of directors or all the directors. Then you become holding, the other company becomes your subsidiary. Subsidiary The word company into and fiduciary capacity will not be counted. Those 3 points you have done. Now 3 points from it. Company means body corporate. Layer means subsidiary or subsidiaries, but the company cannot have more than 2 layers of subsidiaries. Number 3, other than the specified companies. What are the specified companies? Banking companies, non-banking finance company, insurance company, government company. These companies can have more than 2 layers of subsidiaries. And number 4, a company incorporated outside India will be having the layers of subsidiaries as per the laws of their country. Okay? They will be following the laws of their respective country. Now come the questions in front of you. Praveen, we will do the questions and then you will understand. Section 8 companies, Rathi Malani is asking. So you will do Section 8 companies. They are given under in the chapter of incorporation. There we'll be covering Section 8 companies. Isha Devi, I hope your doubt is clear now. Okay, VR Niketna has written understood. Dilip has written yes. Good, good, good. Riya Anil, I hope your doubt is also clear now. Yes, Praveen, but how will you calculate in percentage points also? Na? Then you have to be sure that what kind of percentage has been given. If it is more than 50%, absolutely correct. Okay, now here the question on screen in front of you. It says the paid up share capital of AVS Private Limited is 1 crore, consisting of 8 lakh equity shares, fully paid up, and 2 lakh cumulative preference shares of rupees 10 each. Okay. So what is given over here? And XYZ and BCL are holding 3 lakh equity shares and 1 lakh 50,000. So let me make a summary for all of you over here. So what is this? AVC Private Limited is having 1 crore of share capital. So how many shares are given? 8 lakhs equity shares are given and 2 lakh preference shares are given. And how much they are holding? XYZ is holding. Like this, you should make your rough notes when you're doing question, okay? XYZ is holding 3 lakhs equity shares and BCL is holding 1.5 lakh shares in AVS Private. Total capital of AVS is given 1 crore, 8 lakh equity, 2 lakh preference shares, and they're holding like this. Okay, now what is he asking? XYZ and BCL are subsidiaries of TCR Limited. So please examine, children, and let me know the answer. I want all of you to answer, holding subsidiary, you have understood. Oh, somebody has written on the answer for the second also. Vishnu Vardhan. Vishnu Vardhan, first give me the answer for the first part. I have just asked you the first part. Let's go slow so that you understand everything, okay? What is the difference between company and business? Manjunatha. Company and business, what do you want to understand out of it? So as a business is a sole proprietor, if you're doing, then you're a sole proprietor. You will be following organization as a sole proprietor organization you're running. But when you have formed a company, you can either form a private company or a public company, and then you're running the business, and then Companies Act is applicable. When you're into partnership, somebody's asking about HUF also. Hardik, when you open up an HUF, to them, HUF rules are applicable. They are not covered under Companies Act, okay? HUF is a separate form of organization. Partnership is a separate form of organization. LLP is a separate form of organization. But for a company, you will strictly follow Companies Act 2013, okay? That is the coverage, okay? I am looking for the Nitish. First, you have to give me the answers for this one, whether it is subsidiary or not. Somebody saying yes, somebody saying no. What happened? Got confused? So that was my purpose, to confuse you. Let me show you the answer for the first part. First, we will understand whether AVS Private Limited is a subsidiary of TCR Private Limited or no. AVS and BCL, both are, whether they are subsidiaries or not. Let us understand first part of the answer. So again, solution number 1, you will write on the provision. Holding company is one which has the control over another company, where the subsidiary company means the companies on which the control is exercised. Now I give you a choice. You can either write the definition of holding or a subsidiary. So if you have learned the subsidiary company definition, which you anyways have to learn it. So as per law, there exists an holding, and you will write like this. As per law, there exists the holding and subsidiary relationship between two companies in the following circumstances. Number 1, where a company is controlling the composition of board of directors, then the one company which is controlling becomes holding, latter becomes a subsidiary. where the company shall be considered to have control of the composition of board of directors only when it is appointing and removing all or majority of the directors. ये लिखकर आना है. Some children are asking me, ma'am, we have to write this kind of full definition. Yes, in provisions you have to write this kind of definition. Point number two, where any or any of the in following circumstances means in any of these circumstances you become holding a subsidiary, or you are exercising or controlling more than one half of the total voting. Now, this was the part of provision. Now he is talking about the facts of the case. So XYZ and BCR are the subsidiaries because they are holding 4,50,000 out of how much they have taken, children? Out of 8 lakhs. Cumulative preference shares without voting rights. We have not included them. Total equity shares have to be considered. So you can write this assumption also, and total voting power. Equity shares are the shares with the voting power. So 8 lakh out of the total 8 lakh. That's why I've written it specifically for you. 8 lakh, 2 lakh, that you can understand. So 4,50,000. How much is 50% of 8 lakh? 4 lakhs. 4,50,000 is anyways more than 50%. Therefore, they will become subsidiaries. So you will write facts of the case first. Then you will conclude TCR is holding majority of the voting power of its subsidiary. Therefore, it becomes the holding company of ABs. Let me read the second question for you. Then we will go to the answer of second question. First one is clear to all of you. First one is crystal clear, right? Yes, Vishnu. So that was the hint over there, now. Pallavi Jha is writing. Good answers all of you are giving. Okay, I will not read the answers now. It has 8 out of 10 directors. Would your answer be different if TCR Private Limited? Question ध्यान से पढ़ना exam में. Very carefully read it twice. Make short notes. Understand what is written over there. Be very careful in reading the questions. Many a time it asks you the reverse also. For example, if I am controlling your board of directors, do I become your subsidiary company? Think logically. Examiner can give you such questions. Remember in foundation MPPs, you have done such questions. If I am controlling a board of directors, I will become a holding company. I will not become a subsidiary company. Okay. So if your answer would be different, if TCR has 8 out of 10 directors on the board of AVS Limited, what will happen? Would your answer be different if TCR has 8 out of 10 directors? Okay. So now he is talking about the controlling the composition of board of directors. So 8 out of 10 on the board of directors I'm having. So definitely I become the holding company of the AVS, because 8 out of 10, majority of the directors I'm controlling. So I become the holding company and the other company will become my subsidiary. I think let's take a small break over here, because then we have to cover private company, public company, small company also we'll be covering, and few more definitions from the study material. So, sir, I'll take a small break over here. All right, welcome back, all of you. All right, let's proceed. So I hope holding subsidiary is clear. Now let's move ahead to public and private company. So what is the meaning of public and private company? So public company means a company which is not a private company. Very simple definition, something which is not a private company. So what we have to learn? We have to learn the definition of private company. Minimum paid up capital, no limit has been prescribed as of now, and subsidiary of a public company shall deem to be a public company, which we will do in detail. But as of now, minimum 7 members in public company, maximum no limit. And in case of private company, minimum 2, maximum 200 members, excluding the past and present employees. So there are 3 points that you have to remember in case of private company. One is the limit. It limits the number of members to 200. Another is restriction. It restricts the right to transfer its shares. And third is prohibition. It prohibits on inviting securities from the public. All right. So private company is a company which is having minimum 2 members and maximum 200. But there are certain provisions which I want you to read exactly from the Bear Act as well. And a few extract is there in the mentioning in the study as well. Let me just show it to you from here. Private company. So we will be doing one case study question also from this. So private companies are a company which is having a minimum paid of capital as may be prescribed. So, but nothing has been prescribed. If you read this point number 7 over here, nothing has been prescribed. So far, there is no minimum paid up share capital. So is there any minimum paid up share capital limit for opening up a private company? No. If you and me, we both want to open up a private company, minimum 2 people are required, and we can open up a private company without having any minimum paid up share capital required. And what are the further points? It restricts, number 1, it restricts its rights to the share, except in case of one-person company. Somebody was asking me, ma'am, what is OPC? OPC you will be covering in detail in second chapter, that is incorporation of companies. You'll be having section 8 companies, and OPC will be covered in second chapter. But you have studied about OPC. You know what is OPC. OPC is one-person company, and only one person, and you have a nominee in case of OPC. So there you cannot say that the limit is number of members 200. Now, if you're having a company which is having 130 members, can it be an OPC? It is anyways not an OPC. So it is a private company, except in case of OPC, you're limiting the number of members to 200. Now, what are the important points? Number 1 important point over here is where 2 or more persons are holding the shares jointly, they will be treated as a single member. So if my company, there is a company AB Private Limited, and there are 5 shareholders who are holding the shares jointly. So in counting the limit of 200, I will count them as 1. If there are 3 shareholders holding the share jointly, then those 3 shareholders will be counted as 1. So you have to read the question very carefully. He gives such questions to you. Such questions in exam do come related to private company where the breakage of number of members is given. So if the shares are being jointly held by the members, those members will be treated as a single member. Further, it says, let me just read it first completely and make you understand. Then I will look into your quiz. Further, it says that people who are in the employment of the company, he will not be counted as a member. So if Mr. A is my shareholder as well as he is my employee of the company, he will not be counted in the limit of 200. A person who has formerly been in the employment of my company, we are members of the company while in that employment and have continued to be the members after the employment ceased. Now, what does it mean? Mr. A was my employee. At that time, he was given the shares of the company. Now he is the member of my company. So that means he's a past employee of my company. he will also not be counted as the member in 200 limit. So members who are in the employment of a company, here you can write down present employees. In the further provided further subclause 1 may you can write down present employees under A, and under point number B, you can write down past employees. So if you have been my past employee in my company, then also you will not be regarded as you will not be included in the number of members. But if you have become a shareholder in 2001, that time you have taken shares in my company and now you have become my employee, then yes, that person will be counted as a member for the previous. So you were not my employee, you were my shareholder. So basically, if the shares have been given to you when you were an employee of my company, then you will not be counted. So in the past employment, you were my employee of the company, you were given certain shares. So you will not be counting in calculating that 200 members limit. But if a shareholder, you became first the shareholder of my company and then you became the employee of my company, then you will be considered in the counting member of 200. That is the only thing that you have to remember. So 3 things, important things. And the last point is, private company also prohibits any invitation to the public, means it cannot get listed on the stock exchange. It cannot invite the public to subscribe to its securities. Private company will never, if it invites the public, it will become a public company. So number 1 point, private company, minimum 2 members, maximum 200. In 200 limit, you will count the joint members will be counted as 1. If he can give you either 10 members are jointly holding, they will be counted as 1. 2 members are jointly holding, they will be counted as 1. And past employees will not be counted, and the present employees of the company will not be counted in the limit of 200. Another thing, there is no minimum paid up share capital limit also, and it prohibits invitation to the public to subscribe for securities. Private company cannot invite the public for securities. The requirement of minimum paid up capital will not also apply to Section 8 companies. Section 8 companies are the companies which are formed with charitable objectives. You will do in detail in second chapter, but it is simply trying to tell you that minimum paid up share capital will not even apply to Section 8 companies, so they can have whatever limit of capital they want to have. The above exemption has been given to Section 8 companies if they have not committed any default. So basically, this line will be coming at many places. So when you read section 127 of the Companies Act, you will understand that it is about the filing of the financial statements. So such exemptions are available only if you have not failed in filing your financial statements and filing your annual return under Section 9. Is that clear? So let us take first question we'll be taking of the private company from this study material itself, which is given in your descriptive questions only. So let us read that question. It says Flora and Fauna was registered as a public company. What is a public company? Any company other than a private company is public. So private he has given you the rules that I'm restricting your right to transfer the shares. I'm prohibiting you to invite the public for securities, and I'm limiting the members to 200. And if any company other than that, somebody who's inviting the subscriptions, having minimum 7 members, unlimited, that is a public company. Public company ka 1 point is pending, deemed public company, that I will explain you in a while, but let us first do this example. Good, Ritu is writing crystal clear, ma'am. That's wonderful. Okay, so there are 230 members in public company, directors and the relatives 50, 15 employees, ex-employees. Shares were allotted when they were employees. So that means you got the shares when you were employees. If you were shareholder earlier and now you have become an employee, then it is a separate story. So read the line very carefully. Ex-employees means they were allotted shares when they were employees of the company. 5 couples holding the shares jointly in the name of husband and wife. So 10 such members, 5 into 2, 10 such members. And others are 145. So now, can I convert it into private company? Do I need to reduce the number of members? So the procedure of conversion of public into private company, we're not going to discuss that because that is part of further chapters. Here we simply have to see whether the reduction in the number of members is required. Now, why is asking you this? Because 230 members, public company is becoming private. For a private company, you cannot have more than 200 members. So is the company having more than 200 members? Let us check it by applying the principle of clause A and B that we just did. So number one, we will be counting others, that is 145 members that we are having. That is absolutely correct. 50 directors and relatives also they are having. That is also fine. Do we need to include employees? No, ma'am. Present employees will not be counted. Ex-employees and they were given the shares when they were employees. They will not be counted. Present and past employees will not be counted. 5 couples holding shares jointly in the name of husband and wife. How many should I count them? 10 or what? Tell me. Tell me quickly. I will be counting them as 5. Jointly they are holding now. So what is the total number? 10 and 10. So it is becoming 210. Is that correct? Please check my calculation. It's becoming 200. So do we need any reduction? Tell me, students, do we need any reduction? We are having 200 members. Do we need any reduction? Yes or no? Absolutely correct. We do not need any reduction in the number of members. Why? Because the limit of number of members, we are falling within the limits. We are not counting the present employees. We're not counting the past employees and 5 couples of the shares which are being held jointly. So we are counting them as 1. So don't think that the 5 couples are holding, so we'll count them as 1. No, 5 couples. So husband, wife, 1. Husband, wife, 1. Husband, wife, 1. So like this, total 10 members will be counted as 5 members. So we are within the limit of 200. Therefore, no reduction is required. How we have to write the answers, jaldi se dekh lete hain. According to section 2, clause 68, you will first define what is a private company. And by its articles, it can restrict the number of members to 200. Again, the same clauses have to be given. Who were in the employment earlier, they will not be counted. Joint members will be counted. Facts of the case will be given. And simply over here, you have to write that this is the directors and relatives, 5 couples. So there is no need of reduction of the members since the existing numbers is 200. And he has also given you the line that I just told you, conversion of public to private company will be part of chapter 2. So don't worry about that. Is that clear, children? So we have covered public and private company also. Let me just have a look at the definitions that we have covered today. So from books of accounts, books of paper, branch, company, chief officer, we have covered this, we have covered this. Control is done. Debentures. What is debentures? Debentures means debenture stock, bonds and other instruments, including a debt, constituting a charge on the assets of the company or not. Okay. So debentures is a kind of a loan that you have taken. That is something which you are the bonds, stocks that you have been studying in accounts also. And whether constituting a charge means whether you have given a charge, whether it is secured or unsecured debentures. Provided that something which is given under Chapter 3D of Reserve Bank of India and any other instruments prescribed by central government in consultation with RBI, they will not be treated as a debenture. So as it is, you have to know the definition. There are certain instruments which are given under Reserve Bank of India Act. Obviously, you don't need to go to the Reserve Bank of India Act and read what instruments are there, but you should know the definition that Chapter 3D of Reserve Bank of India is mentioning certain things, and other instruments which are prescribed by central government in consultation with RBI, they will not be considered as debentures. Other than that, all the stock, bonds, and instruments which are evidencing as a debt means where they're showing that they are a debt for the company, they will be known as debentures. Director means director appointed to the board of the company. Directors is largely covered in your CA fine. Dividend includes interim dividend. So dividend, we'll be doing a proper chapter, full-fledged chapter of dividend. There you will learn what is final dividend, what is interim dividend, in detail will be documented. Document all the notice requisition orders that you have been given, whatever document that you are using in the company, that is known as document. It's very simple. Employee stock option, ESOPs. ESOPs hote hain, employee stock option means the option given to the director, officers, employees of a company or its holding or a subsidiary company. So the option is given to the employees that if you want, you can subscribe to the shares of the company. That is why we'll be saying the employees who have been given the shares will not be counted in the number of members because the company has given them the right to ESOPs, in which the directors are given the benefit or right to purchase or subscribe for the shares at a future date at predetermined price. So the opportunity is given to the directors, officers They can purchase the shares at a future date at a predetermined price. Price is already fixed. Now comes the definition of expert. I was talking about the expert now. So who is the expert as per the Companies Act? Expert as per the Companies Act means an engineer, a valuer. Okay. First, let us see the easy words. A chartered accountant, you all know CS, company secretary, cost accountant, or any other person who is holding the power of the issuing a certificate in pursuance of any law, means an advocate kind of person. So all they are from commerce background, CS, cost accountant, and any other person who has the power of authority to issue a certificate in pursuance of law for the time being means somebody who is like kind of related to the advocate or lawyer kind of position. The only interesting things that they have included over here in experts definition is that an engineer and valuer is also included as a definition of expert. So any engineer who is coming and doing certain kind of valuations or any valuer that you have appointed will also be covered under the definition of expert. So how you have to learn it? Expert includes CS, cost accountant, very easy, all the similar kind of fields, or any other person who has the power of authority to issue a certificate in pursuance of law. So power or authority issuing the pursuance of law means lawyer or advocate kind of person. And then for fifth and sixth is engineer or valuer that you have to remember. So that is expert, is engineer. Engineer is also included in the expert. And valuer means somebody who is doing the valuation of your things. That for that also you have to appoint an expert, an outside party who will come and check everything has been done correctly or not. All right. Let's see the presentation. I think there was one question from the... Okay, there's another problem for all of you over here. This is a little different. You want to do one more question of public and private company, yes or no? Okay. Many of you are saying yes, means you're enjoying doing questions. ABC was registered as a public company and here they are having 245 members. Their details are given, directors and their relatives 190, employees 15, ex-employees. The shares were allotted when they were employees 20, and 10 shareholders jointly holding the shares in the name of father and son 20. Board of directors again want to convert it into private company. They just need your advice regarding the reduction in the number of members. Please tell me, do we need to reduce the number of members? And also tell me what all members that you have counted, what will be the total number? Do we need the reduction or not? 190 directors and 10 joint holders will be counted. No need of reduction. Excellent. Very good. Again, you will be framing the answer. This is the definition, how you have to write it. Facts of the case will be written. You simply write them that these employees will not be counted. ABC, when converted, does not require the reduction because the number is maximum limit of 200 members is 50. Is that clear? Now we will be doing financial statement and then I have a problem and then we'll be doing financial year. ESOPs we have covered, debentures we have covered, expert we have covered. So 2 problems and 2 questions we are doing. Okay, let's do financial statements. This is a question. Financial statement, because I have a question coming up for you. That's why I put up the definition of financial statement over here. So financial statement in relation to company means, what is financial statement? You know what are financial statements? Yes, Lakshita Vyas, you're absolutely correct. Financial statement in relation to company includes balance sheet that you make at the end of financial year, profit and loss showing your income and expenditure, cash flow statement for the financial year, and another 2 new things. Expert में 2 new things कौन सी थी? CS, cost accountant, somebody who is holding the practice pursuance of law, and engineer and value. Financial statement में some new things are coming. Balance sheet, you all know. Profit and loss, you all know. Cash flow statement, you all understand. A statement of changes in equity, if applicable. Somebody who is showing the changes in equity, whatever changes have happened, a statement showing for that. And any explanatory note annexed to or forming part of this document. So explanatory note forming part of balance sheet, explanatory note forming part of P&L, explanatory note of CFS, all these sub clauses having an explanatory note, that is also part of your financial statements. You all know. We all make accounts. You all know what a financial statement, profit and loss, balance sheet, cash flow statements, any statements or explanatory statements annexed and forming part of these documents. And a new thing is a statement of changes in equity, if applicable. Clear? Everybody is clear what is financial statements? Important. provided financial statements of OPC, small company, dormant company, private company may not include cash flow statements. Asterisk and important mark kar lo isko. What does it mean? OPC, you all know 1% company, they are not required to mandatorily prepare the cash flow statements. Small company, I will be just taking up of this small company in a while. Dormant company, you all know what is dormant company? A company which has just started a startup, but they have not actually done any kind of business. Remember, CA Foundation last definition of the types of companies, dormant company, which is just other than significant accounting transactions, not doing anything else for the last 2 years. So it is declared as a dormant company. So they are not required to prepare cash flow statements. And a private company, which is a startup. Okay, this is very, very important and very interesting question also I have for all of you. So financial statements of OPC, small company, dormant company, and private company startup may not include cash flow statement. So if I tell you there is a company ABC, which is a dormant company, they have filed their financial statements, balance sheet, profit and loss, statement of changes in equity, and the explanatory statement forming part of it, but they have failed to file their cash flow statement. Will you say that they have made any default? If a dormant company has not filed the cash flow statements, can we say that they have made any default? No, because it is not mandatory for them. They can file it, they cannot file. OPC has not filed cash flow statement. Small company has not filed, it's okay. Private company, which is a startup, have not filed because it is not compulsory. Very good, Harv. Because it's not mandatory for them. Okay? All right. So, now let's see what is the question for all of you on the next page. So the information extracted from the, whether you will be able to do this one as of now. Yes, you can do it. Information, this is a July 2021 question paper from CA Inter. Now, we were doing revisions from some things that you have been learning and doing in foundation also. What's the duration of turnover criteria for it? So whatever turnover is mentioned over there, child, as per your audited financial statements, that will be taken. So Vishnu, when we go to the definition of turnover, there we will understand in detail about it. Okay. So information extracted from the audited financial statement of Smart Solution Private Limited. They're saying the paid up share capital of the company is 50 lakh. That is 5 lakh equity shares carrying the voting rights. And there is no change in the paid up share capital there. So 5 lakh equity shares. And the turnover is 2 crores. Nice Software Limited is a public limited company. Okay. Before we do this, one small thing is left. So we have done the definition of private company and public company. You also forgot to remind me. I told you one thing I have to tell you, which is pending. Public company ki definition mein, hai na? A deemed public company. Let me tell you, वैसे you know it, but still, since we are doing everything, so why should we leave a single thing? So public company is a company which is not a private company and no minimum paid up share capital has been subscribed. A company which is a subsidiary of a company, not being a private company, shall deem to be a public company for the purposes of this act, where such subsidiary continues to be a private company in its article. Remember, kuch suna hua lag raha hai? You have heard this line in your CA Foundation also. If I am trying to control your company and you are a private company and ABC Limited is a public company, it is holding a private company, then a private company which is subsidiary of public company shall deem to be a public company. Means for all the compliance, it will be considered as a public company. It will not be getting the benefits and exemptions that are given to a private company. Let us see example number 8. A Limited is, but in its articles, it can still continue to be private company. So A Private Limited is a wholly owned subsidiary of AB Limited. साथ साथ लिखते चलते हैं. There is AB Limited. It is a public company. And it is holding what? It is holding A private company, A Private Limited. Now, children, A Private Limited will mention in its articles, what is mentioned in its article? That limit of number of members is 200, that it restrict the right to transfer, all right? Restrict the right to transfer the shares. And it prohibits from inviting securities from public. Am I right? So it's a private company. It will be following in its articles that restriction, prohibition, and prohibits. Prohibits from inviting securities from the public and limiting the number of members too. But since public company is holding this private limited, since public company is holding private company, therefore, A Private Limited shall deem to be, please tell me, shall deem to be a public company. Then it will deem to be a public company. It will, though it continues to be a private company. So it will not be allowed to avail the exemptions available to a private. Since it is now considered as a public company, because you are my subsidiary, you will be considered as a public company. And those who have been writing answers along with me, very good. So that means you know this thing, that a company, which is a private company, which is being held by a public company, then that company shall deem to be a public company. So in this case, A Private Limited is a subsidiary, which is a public company. Therefore, A Private Limited shall deem to be a public company and will not be given the exemptions which are given to the private. There are certain exemptions which are available, so they cannot. Clear हो गया? उसके बाद register of companies. Register of companies means means the register which you are maintaining either in the paper or electronic form. But we were supposed to do a question from the. Now it will become very easy for you because I've given you a hint also. But anyways, we have to do it. So turnover is this, and 50 lakh is by paid up share capital. So Nice Software Limited, which is a public company, is holding. Okay, leave this question as of now. First, let me teach you what is a small company also. So we have done public company, we have done private company, we have done associate company, we have done holding company, we have done subsidiary company. We have done all the definitions covered under A and B also, and C, D, E is also covered. From F, we have done financial statements. Let us also cover financial year. This we have done financial year. What is the meaning of financial year? And then we'll do small company. Then I will take you to that questions. Okay. Financial year in relation to any company or body corporate means the period ending on, what is the financial year? What do you understand by the meaning of financial year? You all have been knowing this. Starting from 1st April, ending on 31st March every year. But where the company has been incorporated from the first day of January, then the financial year will be ending 31st March of the following year. So the company which has incorporated on or after first day of January of any year, their financial statements will be made up for the period ending on 31st March of the following year, means next year. Let me make you understand with the help of an example. There is a company AB Limited. It was incorporated on 30th September 2023. When does their financial year end? Please tell me. A company incorporated on 30th September 2023. When will their financial year end? Pavan, you're giving me 2023-24. You have to give me when does the financial year end? So last date has to be given. Very good, Pallavi. Nikitna, Dilip, Soumya, Hardik. Excellent. It will be 31st March 2024. Very good. Another. TQ Limited was incorporated on 1st February 2023. What will be the financial year date ending? Company incorporated on and after 1st January. It can be 1st February or it can be 1st January or you can take 11th January. Any date I'm taking after 1st January. What will be my year ending date? Are you giving for the second one? If you're giving for the second one, write down that you're giving for the second one. Excellent. It will be 31st March 2024 because for this company, you are ending on this obviously, na, because you're formed in this year. So if you're formed in January, then you're ending on the next financial year. Are you understanding? You will not be ending on somebody's writing 31st March 23, not at all. So you'll be ending on 31st March 2024. So if you form on any date after 1st January 2023, your financial year ends on 31st March 2024. You're born on 1st January 2025, your financial year ends on 31st March 2026. All right. So this is the only hidden twist that you need to know in financial year. Number one, this is the thing that you have to remember. Number two, another important thing. Where the company or a body corporate is a holding a subsidiary company or an associate company incorporated outside India. So if you're having a foreign company influence, you're a holding company, we're having a foreign company, and then they want you to follow a different financial year for consolidation of accounts outside India. So children, when you have a foreign company, you have a holding and subsidiary, you have to make consolidated financial statements also. You must have heard about it. So for consolidation, your foreign company wants you to follow a different financial year because they are following from, say, for example, Jan to December. So they want you to follow the similar kind of financial year so that the consolidation of accounts become little easier. In that case, the company can make an application to the central government in such form and manner as we prescribed. And then central government, if it allows, they can follow this different financial year just for the purpose of consolidation of their accounts. So examiner can ask you that, can a company follow a different financial year? Then you have to give this kind of answers that, sir, if it is a company or body corporate which is holding a subsidiary or associate of a company which is incorporated outside India, because you have included body corporate. So body corporate means a company incorporated inside India and outside India also. So there can be a chance that holding and subsidiary are having from company incorporated outside India. So you have to tell them that, sir, if there is a company of holding and subsidiary relationship or associate company, and it is a company incorporated outside India, then in that case, if you are required to follow different financial year for the purpose of consolidation of accounts outside India, then the company can make an application to the central government in such form and manner as may be prescribed. Central government will then allow them to follow the period for that particular financial year. They can follow that period. Okay. Whether or not that period is a year. So maybe for 6 months, a quarter, whatever time you have to make an application to CG. CG has to be convinced. Company incorporated outside India refers to the company, foreign company, which is incorporated, and the applicable laws outside India. The laws which are applicable to them outside India have to be seen. Is that clear? Okay. Now financial year is clear, financial statements is clear, and we will be having questions also from all these definitions. These are important definitions. Important means important is everything, okay? So, but still we have questions from them so that you can answer. But first we are going to do small company. What is the meaning of small company? Small company, also pay full attention. Small company means a company other than a public company. What is the meaning of other than a public company? What does the need to say other than a public company? Means it's a private company. Small company is always a private company. Write it in your books, notes. Small company is always a private company. If I ask you, children, ABC Limited wants to be a small company. Can they be a small company? No. Only a private company can be a small company. Having a paid up capital less than 4 crores, turnover limit 40 crores, then you become a small company. Now, these are the maximum limits that have been prescribed by the central government. But again, since we are reading each and everything, it's very important that you should know what is written in the BEAR Act. So Act has given certain range for the small company, and within that range, the limit has been now prescribed. So let me take you in the exact definition, what is given in the small company. Let us read it word to word, and then we will understand what does it mean. Here is your small company. Small company means a company other than public company, which is having a paid up share capital not exceeding 50 lakhs or such higher amount which shall not be more than 10 crores. So there are two limits given for small company. Number one is paid up share capital. Number two is turnover. This turnover has to be seen as per the audited financial statements of the profit and loss for the immediately preceding. So what is the limit given for share capital? It shall not be more than 50 lakhs and maximum that can be increased is 10 crore rupees. And turnover should not exceed 2 crores. Such higher amount means the government can prescribe the higher amount, but it cannot prescribe more than 100 crores. Now, children, this is the range which has been given for small company. Within that range, government has now fixed the limit. That is, if your, I'll show you the limit where it has been written. So it says, if your paid up share capital for the clauses of subclause 1 and 2, it has been written that it shall not exceed 4 crores and 40 crore respectively. So it simply tells you if your paid up share capital is 4 crore or less than 4 crore. If your turnover is 40 crore and less than 40 crore, then you are a small company. So earlier they have given, in the act still they have given this range. So beyond they have given this point. So for examination point of view, for numerical questions, what you have to remember? You have to remember a company which is having, number one, it should be a private company. In order to be a small company, number one, you are a private company. Number two, if your paid up capital is less than or equal to 4 crores and your turnover is less than or equal to 40 crores, then you are a paid up small company. And here the word is and. Here the word is and, means both the conditions needs to be satisfied. So there is a company, children. Let me write down a question for you. There is a company AB Limited having paid up share capital 2 crores and turnover 30 crores. Is it a small company? Yes or no? Having paid up share capital of 2 crores and turnover is 30 crores. Is it a small company? Supriya is saying yes. Hardik is saying yes. Khushi is saying yes. Very good. Very good. Balachandra is saying yes. All of you are wrong. AB Limited is a public company, children. So I succeeded to confuse you, but don't have to confuse in the exam. Okay, remember it. AB Limited is a public company. So public company cannot be a small company. Please keep writing down these small notes. Help you to retain the information. Is that clear? Now AB Private Limited is having paid up share capital 1.5 crores and turnover 48 crores. Is it a small company? Yes or no? Now I have taken private company. Are you happy? So my paid up share capital is less than 4 crores and my turnover is 48 crores. Am I a small company? No, ma'am के साथ reason भी दिया करो. Khushi is saying yes, ma'am. Why Khushi? So all of you are correct. No, ma'am is correct because both the conditions have to be seen. Since turnover is more than 40 crores, so here also the answer will be no, it is not a small company. Now, if I ask you, AB Private Limited having paid up share capital 3.8 crores and turnover is 38 crores. Is it a small company? Yes or no? Yes, ma'am. Now it is a small company. Number one, it is a private company. Exam you have to see this thing. Number one, it is a private company. Number two, paid up share capital is less than 4 crores. Number three, turnover is less than 40 crores. Then yes, it is a small company. Till now, here it is clear. More twists are coming. Picture abhi baki hai mere dost. Abhi dekhte hain aage ruko. Nothing shall apply to. What does it say? You have understood small company very clearly, but it tells you that This clause is not applicable to a holding company or a subsidiary company. A company registered under Section 8. Section 8 is a company which is formed for a charitable objectives or any other body corporate governed by special acts. So special acts, body corporates that have been formed under respective acts, they are also small company is not applicable. So holding and subsidiary companies, small companies not applicable. Is that clear? And Section 8 companies also, this is not applicable. So if I tell you that ABC Limited is a Section 8 company, okay? Now let's come to the questions again. So ABC Limited is a Section 8 company. Can it be a small company? No. Even if the limits of the paid up share capital and turnover are within the limits, then also it cannot be a small. Okay. Now, AB Private Limited is subsidiary of PQ Limited. PQ Private Limited. Having paid up share capital 2 crores and turnover is 3 crores. AB Private Limited is a subsidiary of PQ Private Limited having paid up share capital of 2 crores and turnover 3 crores. Can we say AB Private Limited is small company? It's a private company. Can we say AB Private Limited is a small company? Intelligent students. You've caught me, huh? No, ma'am, because there is a holding subsidiary relationship. So when you're having holding and subsidiary, if you're a holding company or a subsidiary company, then you cannot be a small company. Very, very important concept. I hope you have understood it very nicely conceptually. So 3 things you have to remember: private company, paid up share capital less than equal to 4 crores, turnover should not exceed 40 crores, then you're a small company. But it is not applicable to, यहाँ पे you can write down public company also. It is not public company, cannot be a small company. Holding and subsidiary cannot be a small company. Company registered under Section 8 cannot be a small company. Is that clear now? So let us take this one question from here. H Limited is the holding of S Limited as per the profit and loss account. The financials have been given. Its paid up share capital is 40 lakhs and 1.5 crore is your turnover. So what do you think? Paid up capital is less than 4 crores and turnover is less than 40 crores. So will it become a small company? It says since it should qualify for the status of small company if it wants to categorize. But S Limited cannot be categorized because it is subsidiary of another company, H Limited. Example 11, everyone is clear? Good. Okay. So let us take up one more question. Anyone wants to ask any doubts as of now? I think we are managing and clearing the doubts in between. I will just go to the admin section also. I hope nobody is having doubt. Mahamadi Farhan. I hope I have pronounced your name correctly. So you're saying 51% criteria, that is for government company. When I teach a government company, there I will tell you about this. You can get the control of composition. Mr. Nagbala, for controlling the composition of board of directors, even if you're not holding more than 50%, one of the condition is satisfied, then yes, you can be a holder. I hope, Mr. Morgan, your query is clear. Yes, Ms. Muskan Sharma, this is the first lecture of companies that we have started. OPC and sole proprietor, same. Mr. Arun Kumar, not at all. OPC is completely different. It is a company. Sole proprietor is not a company. Mr. Anirudh, for the definition of members, we will be covering it in the next class. So you will understand it over there. Private company becomes a subsidiary. Yes, Mr. Morgan, for the compliance purposes, if a public company has a holding company, is a holding company to a private company, then that private company will be treated as deemed to be a public company. So all the compliance of public company has to be. Mr. Sakleen, that's correct because OPC is also a private company, so it can claim the status of small company also. Okay. Muhammad Irfan, that's fine. Now your name is better written. Muhammad Irfan. Okay, both the conditions. No, because it is a subsidiary. All of you have given the correct answers over there also. All right. So those who are writing in the queries that it is given 10 crore, 100 crores, I just explain you in small company children. They have given the limits, that is the range between 50 lakhs and 2 crores and 10 crores and 100 crores. That is the range that the government can fix the limit. Now they have fixed those limit to 4 crores and 40 crores. So for numerical purposes, you can learn those 4 crores and 40 crores limits only. Okay. Yes, you will get the PDF of PPT also. Don't worry about that. There are the clauses over here under section 2, which we are doing, Pallavi. Divya, I hope you are clear about the limits now. Okay. Sir, can we allow them to unmute because 3 students have raised their hand? Okay, Mr. B. Sai Kiran, you can speak.
Yes, madam. This SMC, you are telling only public limited company is not SMC. I am asked, my doubt is whether listed and unlisted both are not SMCs. Na?
So listed companies we'll do in the next lecture. What are listed companies? As of now, you simply have to remember that the public company will not be a small company. And the companies which are listing the securities on stock exchange are always public.
No,
Okay?
I'm asking whether it is listed or unlisted, both are not SMC. I'm asking.
So yeah. Both. Public company cannot be a small company, whether listed or not. That's correct.
That is my doubt.
I hope it's clear now.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, Sonali.
मैम बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स में
Please be loud.
मैम बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स में ये जो कहा गया है कि
You're not audible, Sonali. Kiran Kumar.
Madam, one more doubt, madam. One more doubt.
Okay, let me listen to Sonali first.
हेलो मैम
You will not unmute Arif. Mute yourself, beta. Yeah.
मैम am I audible?
Sonali, speak.
हेलो मैम am I audible?
Yes.
मैम ये बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स के बारे में जो कहा गया है अदर कंपनीज और ये कंपनी स्पेसिफाइड अंडर सेक्शन 148 ये दोनों बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स में यही सब ऐड करते हैं ना ये बैलेंस शीट प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस स्टेटमेंट और कैश फ्लो स्टेटमेंट यही सब ऐड करते हैं ना
Yes. So mute yourself. So it's the same thing. I'll tell you, books of accounts are the same thing. The revenue and expenditure is your P&L, assets and liabilities and all those transactions. The only difference is for section 148, you have to include the items of cost books. Rest the things are absolutely same.
और मैम ये मोर्टगेज और कोलेट्रल एक ही चीज है मोर्टगेज और कोलेट्रल एक ही चीज है
Mortgage and
collateral COLLET
collateral security means when you have given some secondary security along with that. Okay, you don't have to go into much detail about that. So when we do the chapter of charge, there you will understand it in a better way. Okay,
Madam, one
और
doubt.
मैम ये कंट्रोल का ये जो डेफिनेशन है ये 3 डेफिनेशन है एक मोर देन 50% शेयर एक्वायर करने चाहिए या होल्डिंग पावर 50% से ज्यादा होना चाहिए
controls definition talks about controlling the board of directors and management and policy decisions. So whatever is written over there, you have to follow that. From control, we understood holding and subsidiary because we were talking about the topic of control. The word control is being used in holding and subsidiary. That's why we have done it in that. Okay. Okay. Now let me give chance to others for first one single query, and then I'll come back to you. Yes, Rachna.
Ma'am, in private company, we read that if they have shares when they're employees in a company, then they are not counted as a member.
Yes.
So what if they didn't have any shares while they were employee, but they acquired the shares after resigning the job? So then it will be counted as a member
Then
only,
they will
right?
be counted, definitely. If you're a shareholder and you were not the employee of the company, then you will be counted.
Okay, ma'am.
Madam, one query, madam.
Yes, Mr. Kiran.
This two-layer restriction is there now, whether it is applicable to member of partnership and member of AOP also?
I'm not clear. You're talking about which topic?
No. If private limited companies are generally are member of partnership firms or association of firms AOP, whether the two-layer restriction is applicable there or it will not count?
Which one restriction you're talking about?
Two-layer restriction.
Yes. 2 layers basically means holding and subsidiary you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. So A is having a subsidiary of B. B is holding further shares in C. So C is subsidiary. So only this limit is allowed. Only till 2 layers of subsidiaries you can have. You cannot have B.
It is nothing to do with the partnership firm
No,
or
it has
AOP
nothing to do
membership.
with partnership.
Huh?
No.
There are any number of firms they can be a member.
For the partnership, you're asking number of firms. As of now, we're just doing Companies Act. So let's not get into partnership. Okay. Okay, Anirudh.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, there was a threshold regarding startups. So, how do you define that startup? If a
So
company can,
startups, when we take up the topic of startups, then we will discuss the limits related to startups. As
okay,
of
ma'am.
now, we have just simply done one thing, that the financial for the cash flow statements exemption has been given, that it is not compulsory for a private company, which is a startup. So examiner will be straight away writing this line. That is what the questions that I wanted to do with you. In the next class, you will understand it in a better way in when we do the questions related. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Anushka.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, can you please explain fiduciary capacity once again?
Okay, fiduciary capacity means where you're holding the shares as a trust for another person. So you are investing, I have invested in another company, but the another company is just holding as a trust. So trustee and beneficiary kind of relationship where it will be written clearly that if you're holding the shares in a fiduciary capacity, what does it basically mean? For example, I'm traveling somewhere and I've given my gold to you to keep and take care of it. So you will not become the owner. You are just keeping as a trustee form. So that kind of relationship will be excluded in counting your holding and subsidiary relationship. Okay?
Okay,
Yes,
ma'am. Thank
Mr.
you.
Biswas. Mr. Santan,
Yes, ma'am.
please tell.
Can I audible?
Yes, you are.
Ma'am, I want to try to say that in definition of the small company that describe the limit of 4 crores, that's capital of 4 crores are included in preference share capital or not?
Yes, it will include your paid up share capital, whichever is given over there, fully paid up share capital.
Ma'am, I'm trying to say preference share, preference share.
Yes, so if paid up share capital includes both the things, no? Sai Charan?
Ma'am, as you mentioned, how can a company raise its paid up share capital without being listed, ma'am?
Please be loud.
How can a company rise? Is there a chances a company can raise its capital without being
So
listed,
this
ma'am?
is the topic which we'll be covering in the share capital and debentures. Okay?
Sure, ma'am.
Arif Ahmed? Okay, Sheikh, you want to say something?
Hello, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes.
Ma'am, can SMC में मैम बैंकिंग और इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज इंक्लूड हो सकते हैं क्या
किसमें बेटा? Which one?
स्मॉल कंपनीज में मैम
So they have
Banking
not
is-
excluded them specifically.
हाँ पर वो एक क्लॉज था उसमें कि स्पेसिफिक रेगुलेशंस जिसको फॉलो करना पड़ेगा
Yes. They are regulated under their respective act. They have to go as per their respective act.
ओ-
Okay. Shruti Kumari. Ritika. So others can just write down their chat box in the messages if any doubts.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, beta.
Am I audible?
Yes, Ritika.
I wanted to ask that, ma'am, I am from direct entry. So for me, law.
Ankit Mishra.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, beta.
Can you define, ma'am, public company again?
Public company is other than private company. What you have not understood in public company? First tell me that. Public company is a company which is not a private company. It has minimum 7 members and maximum there is no limit on the number of members. Private company uses the word private limited, public company uses the word limited. There is no minimum paid up share capital given for the public company. And the only important point in public company is that if it is holding any private company, then that private company, which is subsidiary of public company, shall also deemed to be the public.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes,
Hello,
Arup,
ma'am.
Viswas.
Hello, ma'am. Ritika Gupta. Am I audible?
Yes, Ritika.
Ma'am, I wanted to ask you that I'm from direct entry. So what should I do? Because I seem after doing, it seems after doing all the class, it seems difficult for me. So what could I do for this?
You be regular with the classes and gradually you'll start learning, okay? So don't worry.
Ma'am,
Keep making notes of everything.
Ma'am, should I do foundation first or
I'm not
of
supposed
law?
to answer such kind of queries, beta. Yes, Nagma.
Oh, oh.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am, actually, can you please repeat, explain the employee stock options?
Employee stock options. Okay, in the next class, we will take this topic again. Okay. And again, this is a topic which will be covered at length in your share capital and debentures.
Okay.
Yes, Bhavna, you have want to ask something. Bhavna is writing how to take notes for laws. So, beta, don't unmute yourself without I tell you, children. Bhavna, please write down your question. What do you want to ask?
Ma'am, can you please provide us a time to take screenshots of the slides?
Yes, in the next class, you can do that. Is there any difference between the issue and Divya? You can refer to the type topic of capital where I have taught you about this. Bhavna, you want to ask something, you can write it down. And so I think children, time is up now. And somebody is asking about the notes. So notes is that you keep writing it down as in when I'm telling you something like we just did small company examples. So you can keep writing it down. And after the class, try making your notes yourself so that you learn it also and you write it also. Yes, Supriya, all the PPTs will be shared with you. And Bhavna is asking about sections. I told you, you can try to learn as many sections as possible. Some sections we will be repeatedly doing. So automatically you'll be able to learn. So don't worry about that. But never write the wrong section. All right. So with this, we come to an end of this session. Ramaya, Suresh, you want to ask something? Quickly ask. Ramaya, Suresh. Satish, yes.
Can deemed public company go to public issue?
Sorry?
Can deemed public company go to public issue?
So we will discuss this in prospectus chapter when we do about the offer and issue of securities. Shekhar?
Ma'am, please clear the joint venture in associate company.
Joint venture, when you're jointly holding, some say A Limited and B Limited are jointly controlling C Limited, having the net assets you're jointly controlling of some organization, then you become a joint venture. Simply, you have to go with that definition that is given over there. Arrangement where you're jointly having the contribution towards the net assets of a company.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, Shekhar. All right, with this, we have answered almost all the queries. And still, if you have any queries, don't worry. Listen to the lecture carefully once again, revise your context, and anything still left, you'll be able to ask me in the next class. Okay? Thank you so much. We are Niketan. Thank you, Lakshita. Thank you, Meera. Thank you, all of you. Thank you, students. Looking forward to see you next class. Goodbye.
Recording stopped.